Welcome, Whale Fam, and everyone out in the metaverse. Thank you for coming through for another episode of Whale FM Artist Fireside Chat. Today we have the incredible Merda, graffiti retiree, digital pensioner, and NFT newborn. He's here to discuss with us his journey into crypto art and his first NFT drop that's happening tonight at 8 p.m. I'm sorry. It's live now and ending in about an hour and a half. Merda, welcome. Thank you for coming through and spending some time with us.
Thanks for having me.
It's definitely our pleasure. Long trajectory for you in the traditional art space and street art and all that. And we're very glad to be hearing your story and what you got going on and just how you feel about the NFT space in general. So
yeah. I suppose it's important to know where I've been to know where I'm going. So once you see my story, then you'll start to understand, where things, how I connect things together. So,
beautiful.
It's been a late night.
Yes. I think I know you have a presentation kind of queued up. And I got to look at it briefly, and wow! Everyone in the community, I'm sure they're gonna love this. There's a lot to unpack. You're definitely an interesting mind, and definitely an addition to what we call home here in the metaverse. We love to learn and engage with anyone that's new that's coming into the space and make them one of us. So I'm sure you'll feel quite welcome here.
Thank you.
Definitely.
I'll get started.
Or tell us a little bit about yourself. If you want to do it through the slides, that's even better. It's very interactive.
Yeah, I'll just do the slides too, because there's quite a few of them.
For sure.
I was born in Melbourne, Australia, in 1970. I was actually born in the city because there used to be a hospital in the city, which is gone now. I like blue little jumpers too.
Hey, little baby Merda.
I've sort of I've been into art since I was a child. I remember someone, I think it was my mother, asked me, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? And the answer was an artist. I probably wasn't the best at school, but my books look good.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't think you've ever been bad, man.
I've spent way too much on the headings. Mathematics I was great at, probably excelled at that.
Look at this piece right here, man.
It's sort of, it's just experimenting. I probably would have been around 12, 13.
Wow.
I just like motorbikes. This is a school project.
Did you ever get inspired by some video games? Because I'm just seeing the bikes and it's like very excite bike kind of.
Yeah, video games are a major part of one of my inspirations, definitely. As I was getting older, I sort of started to question, well, where's my art? What's it called? Where's the whole artistic thing come from? It's basically my family, generations. Like my grandmother, this is one of her watercolors and pen and inks when she was young.
Wow. Definitely it's in the genes that.
Yeah. I said it's good to sort of research and see, well, this person was an engineer and this person was a scientist, because that's part of who I am. My father was crazy about, restoring old bikes. He was an art director at some major advertising agencies in Melbourne in the 70s to probably mid-90s. This is something he did. He basically took a photo of himself, printed it out and cut it out, and then took the shot. So it looked like two of him duplicated. I just love the retro shirt, tie, phone.
That looks sick.
Graffiti art. So basically, I was already into art. The just realism, drawing. I went to Huntingdale Tech in 1985. and was exposed to this by a friend. This book basically inspired the world at the time.
Yeah, I'm from Brooklyn, and around this same time, you know, things were very, very street art, and graffiti art was huge around here too.
So I spent most of my time in the art room around 85. Instead, I didn't start painting walls until later on. So I basically just learned how to do letters on canvas. I had a very supportive art teacher that just gave me techniques and showed me methods of how to stretch canvases and mix paint. 86, I had my first exhibition at a library, and you could see all my 3 canvases. And then around 86, I got into walls, painting illegally on the line, which is like the train line.
Nice.
And this stuff was early Melbourne, so you know, there were a lot of people pioneering graffiti in Australia. This is before the internet, before you could just look up people.
So you made a name for yourself the old-fashioned way. You had to tag up.
Yeah, it's a lot of hard work. This is one of my famous pieces globally. Like it got recognised overseas. That was around the end of 87, start of 88. Around 88, I started doing 3D lettering styles, which that's my sort of claim to fame, has been one of the innovators globally that started 3D lettering.
Whoa.
This is probably around 90. So I just started experimenting with patterns and repeats. Sort of almost like a template and my own grid system. I used to sketch on grid paper. This is an abandoned abattoirs. A few days worth just completing this huge mural with a few other friends of mine.
I'm 2 days, and that sounds quick because this amount of detail and work. Holy crap!
This is around 1988, so this is sort of 3D with a bit of shadow and depth. 89. I look at this piece now and the whole NFT thing, and it's just looking at the PowerPoint and the art. It's almost like a digitized thing, which is strange to look at now. Making something real.
I could see the correlation. There's actually a lot of correlation between, or you know, what you're doing now and then, but we'll get into that.
My inspirations basically, I see an object and then think I can adapt that. So basically, this was an old puzzle from the 70s, and I basically just adapted that into a style, and then used the color principle of the puzzle, all different blocks.
Jeez.
Sorry, I'm probably going a bit quick.
No, you're good. You know, I encourage the audience to kind of post some questions if they have any questions on this stuff. I know a lot of us here in the audience are old enough to remember when this stuff was, you know, coming out, or when those drops were happening, if you want to put it that way.
Yeah, this is the sort of snail mail drop, because the way that we communicated globally was through magazines. So things got published, and then magazines got sent overseas, and other writers would see what was going on. This is around 89, so basically this is one of my 3D pieces that got published, and you know, it got passed around because it was different, and people were like, you know, have you seen that 3D stuff? I got recognised by Phase 2 from New York, which is Pioneer Graffiti, who passed away just over a year ago.
I'm sorry to hear that.
He made his own magazine, which is Get Hip Times by GT.
It was like Twitter, basically, or early message boards.
It's just so amazing. It's just so raw, and you know, photocopies and cutting it out and manually pasting it together. But it just looks great. So, so well done. I love the airmail. That's how things used to be.
That gives it the authentic touch right there. This came from far.
So that's my piece, the one from 87, 88.
Mm-hmm.
And then Australia started taking it on, and I was involved in a few publications. It was difficult because the journalists would meet up with you and you'd tell them the story, and they'd hang out with you, and you'd say, "Please don't publish me with my name, my tag name next to it."
Right.
The editorial basically just got changed last minute, and suddenly we were in a gang.
Oh wow.
And then I think I'm just the bottom right there, and it's got murder at work.
You just clocking in regular 9 to 5.
This is from around the late 80s. We went to Sydney to paint. I used to make my own T-shirts just by screen printing and using paper, like paper stencils.
Look at you.
This is sort of when I started getting out of graffiti. I started drawing more. So this is one of my first digital pieces, and this is from 1990.
What did you create this on?
This is basically just a pencil drawing. So this is 3 drawings, and I've just scanned them and sort of put them together.
Oh snap!
It's got that the whole digital sort of. This is a portrait I did of myself when I was getting out of graffiti, just because I got into too much trouble with the police. It was close to going to prison. I just had to stop, basically.
That was one of the questions from Heather Hertz. She wanted to know if you ever had any run-ins with the law, because those were some big pieces you were making back then.
Yeah, I had my house raided. My parents were quite shocked to have all these police at 5 o'clock in the morning, rummaging through the house, and then I got taken for questioning, and my mother was extremely. She always stood by me. I was always honest with her about where I was going, what I was painting. I didn't see my father much. He was in advertising. They separated, but he always had humour. I just love. This is a small card I got for my birthday.
So she's very, very supportive. She even bought you the clothes, Jay.
I just like the cash. You need some cash for fines. It was so true. So around 90, I just started getting out of illegal graffiti, and I just started to get commercial work. I got a big billboard for Big M, which is a milk company. I just love this shop because it's just so retro Melbourne, just the cars.
How was that transition for you? Going legit? Did you feel like, did you feel like you were made, what was that feeling like? Because I know part of the graffiti lifestyle is kind of like that rebel feel, right?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. It was as long as I had sort of an artistic freedom. If I was doing art, I was pleased.
Beautiful.
Around 93, I got an invite to go over to Germany. Lumet and Dame and Bates. We painted this. It was an AIDS wall we did. So it's the letters AIDS. I was unemployed. I was doing a bar and wine course, and I just got a random phone call from Lumet saying, we'll pay for your flights. I can get you work. Basically, unemployed, going to Germany.
Can't say no to that.
I spent 6 months there, and on my return, basically I was painting at my studio. I had that around the mid-90s. So I was doing these massive stencil works on plywood, sort of letter-based, almost like typography, and they were called letterheads. This is in an old building in Prahran, Melbourne, Dan Murphy's.
Wow.
Around the late 80s, early 90s, I started doing t-shirt work for this company, Renegade Clothing. This is pretty much where it just changed everything I was doing.
Now, this is around the time where everything like that is becoming more mainstream?
Yeah. So these drawings are actually from a period of late 80s, early 90s. Every t-shirt design was hand-drawn and then inked up. A few people have claimed this design as being the first to do a Campbell spray can. This was done in '89, so.
Damn, that shirt must have done well.
Yeah, and all this, it's sort of like streetwear, but it wasn't called streetwear back then. It was sort of just at the start of where, people started experimenting with fashion. And these all were hand-drawn. That was, stuff like that. It just took way too long. I used to use rotary pens, which is like a German tech pen.
I could imagine the hours sat there.
So from that transition, I was doing stuff for Renegade. He would take the designs that I was doing for him, those drawings, to the company, and they had Macs. They had a Quadra or a few Quadras and a scanner, and they would scan the drawings in and then digitize them as a vector and then colorize them for output to film, and then it would go to screen printers. So
what took longer, you to draw them or those scanners to fully? Wow.
So these examples are the previous drawings. And this is how I got into computers. So basically the owner of the business saw my drawings and he was like, "Wow, you can definitely do stuff for us."
Mm-hmm.
I sort of said no the first time. I said I wasn't interested. And then around 95, I said yes. And basically he trained me in pre-press and printing and how to set artwork. And I learned so much about the technical side of printing. How to manually trap stuff, like trappings when you colors overlap for printing, so you don't get gaps in between.
Gotcha. Learning all this stuff so early on, right? Like,
yeah, this is 95, so I learned so much through. It was hands-on experience, basically. I was doing flyers for rave parties, and we were doing fashion, music, so we'd be designing CDs. So I was doing skate stuff. So these are skate wheels. This is probably 95, 96. Warhead was for a rollerblade, and the one on the right, 50, was for a skate wheel.
You touched on your art's been on a lot of stuff.
Yeah. It's this was so exciting when I got into this stuff because it was just so new, and it was just so easy to color stuff instantly. This is probably when I did this for Melbourne City Council. It was Melbourne Walks. So I created characters for the different themes, like wine, art, literature, sweets, confectionery, theatre, blah, blah, blah. And it's got the Rialto, which is one of Melbourne's skyscrapers.
I love that around this time now, now that you've incorporated a kind of like more technology, your stuff is taking on just a whole another life.
Yeah, these are still hand drawn. Like I'm still using the technique of inking them on paper and then scanning them and vectorizing them with the used to be called Streamline. It used to vectorize bitmaps. Now it's inbuilt into Illustrator.
Jeez, I can't. I find the software complicated to use now. I could imagine then with all those steps.
It wasn't too bad. Like it was just a program. It was cool to watch because it would trace around your drawing. this is one of my first. So basically, I worked at that company from around 85. Well, I did stuff for them around 94 until about 97. And then I just went, no, I'm going out on my own. I got a loan from my mum for about $5,000, bought this thing, which was like $4,000.
Oh man.
Which was a lot of money back then. Like, and this was like a 7300 Mac, Power Mac. But it did the job.
It's never cheap. Even $5,000 now is is a lot of money. And that's kind of like around what a good computer for that kind of stuff is still going for. So you were right there.
Yeah, and then it was like it was an expensive habit because you'd be up with tech and you'd be up with what's been released, and it's like, well, the G3 got released and the G4's out.
Oh man. Well, you got to save some money on spray paint cans, which I'm sure was a nice build too.
Oh, that's funny. So yeah, so basically I started my own business, and I just started getting work through agencies and getting real jobs, which was weird, getting paid well. So this was for a design magazine in Melbourne or in Australia. I got they did a design issue, and I got the cover, which was, they were like, do you want to do a cover for us? I did these sort of mock-ups for Whirlpool, and an agency contacted me and said, can you just do some illustrations, some sort of icon things for a presentation? And pretty much this got me, a decade of work, basically. I worked for the agency for about 10 years doing Hertz Rent-A-Car illustrations. I could do one in about 3 hours, and I'd earn 750 Australian dollars.
Wow. That kind of work must have been pretty cool. Like, you can do it pretty simple and fast, but so many people could potentially see it, right? That must have been cool.
Yeah, I did. So this is very commercialized. This is just the way to pay rent,
Right.
But it was fun. Like, I kept a sort of style. It was simple, clean line. They'd have a brief, they'd have a rough sketch, and I'd just basically adapt it and make it ready for the final output. So this is just a bit of a mixed bag of stuff that I've done over like 15 years. It was just hard to condense so much work that I've got to show, and I thought, well, I've already got about 90 pages. It's difficult to show how much digital stuff I've done. Like, the amount of t-shirts I've done are in the hundreds of designs. I did this sculpture for a department store in Melbourne, Maya, just in the basement. It was months' work, made out of cardboard and core flute, which is like that plastic corrugation sheeting.
Right.
And just hand cut it and stuck it all together. And, it was a challenge.
I love that you don't stick to sort of one medium. Your style is your style, but definitely lots of mediums.
I love experimenting and learning things. I think that's why I just like to. I see something, I think, I get. This is for a calendar, and the brief was every artist gets a month, and I got June. I'm a Gemini, so it was the best month for me to get. But then I thought, well, how can I push it? I don't want to do a drawing. I thought, how about I just do a little sculpture and then just get someone to shoot it for me? So I used IKEA boxes. I went to IKEA and just got a whole heap of these, boxes they used to put glasses in. So the box where my name is upside down was actually IKEA, but I photoshopped it so it said murder.
I mean, it almost sounds like an IKEA piece. I was gonna say, very cool.
Then I got Absolute, this was a massive job. Like, it was, I think I got paid about $9,000, which is, it's good to do art. Get paid a big sum of money because it just means you can survive and make more art.
Of course, definitely do more of what you love. And this is a great piece. I'm sure you had fun making it, especially
Yeah.
if they gave you some vodka too.
um, sorry. The pitch was basically I got an email and basically said, "Can you have something done by the next morning?" So basically, it wasn't even a 24-hour. I don't think. I think it was like 12 hours. So I did a concept. It was similar to this, and 3 of us went in on the pitch, and they had like 12 different agencies going for it, and we won it. So, which was good. And it was funny because I had so much graphic experience. The advertising agency, when they got my EPS for the poster, the graphic design guys were like, "Dude, I can't believe your EPS just dropped in exactly where it should have gone. Like, I don't even know how that's possible." I'm like, "Dude, I took the PDF and I just grabbed the template that you're using." And I think the guy was a bit blown away. They had so much of a graphic, knowledge. It's quite funny.
Damn, talk about coming in crunch time, 12 hours.
Yeah, but we had more time to do the final artwork, and there was a billboard involved, and I went on site for about 4 days and painted live on top of a 4-story building. It was quite nerve-wracking. It was the super sites. It was like 20 meters by 4.5 or something. I can't remember exactly the measurements, but it was big.
An experience.
So just the last decade, I've just been experimenting. These are 2 collaborations I did with both with friends, Demote on the left and Cab on the right. So it's like the Exquisite Corpse game where you fold a paper and then you continue the design without seeing it. Artists do it. It's a visual game. I think Surrealists invented it with it comes from a few different places. But the concept was to grab a letter and then actually do the similar thing where we flow. So it's got 4 parts. It's hard to see, but on the right you can sort of see Cabs on the top, the black section. Sort of it's cut into quarters basically.
Yes, I see it.
So you don't see the final image until it's finished. But it was fun to do. So I screen printed those as an addition.
Shout out to Melbourne.
Yeah. QV in Melbourne, which is basically a massive shopping complex, had a street art competition. And I thought, why not? I'll try and enter it and see how I go. And it was voted by the public. And basically, I think I just got in there and won. And had the chance to paint, and it's still there. It was about a week.
Oh, nice.
There's a massive stencil. I cut it all at home, and then basically just sprayed it all in sections.
Man, you'd love to get your hands dirty still.
I'm getting older, and it's the aches and stuff.
No. We'll put you on a Segway and a spray paint can. Just go.
There's a little group show I was involved in. So the concept was I just duplicated one of my old slides and made it a painting. So I constructed the slide cover or little frame, and then I did a digital print for my artwork and sort of slotted it in like an artistic frame, and had glass in front of it. So it's almost like a duplicate of a slide times, whatever percent. This is like a small section of that previous sculpture in Maya, but I just made a little one that you could put on the wall.
Have your own little piece of your creation and Melbourne.
Yeah, so it was sort of like taking the original idea was I was going to hide one in laneways of Melbourne, but we moved house and it just took too long. I had 2 of them getting built. And I got impatient and then thought, oh, look, forget it. So I just finished it. That's it. This is my personal sort of piece. This is a painting that I made. It was 2019. I I replicated that piece, the graffiti piece, the puzzle one, and basically made it a painting. So I thought, why not? Those pieces have gone forever. And I thought, how about that I duplicate it as a painting and bring it back into existence?
I love this one.
So that's the, yes, I think that's 4 or 5 panels there. I got, there's a street art festival in Melbourne. Can't do tomorrow. They got, I think, 22 carriages from a freight company in Melbourne and basically said, well, you've got permission, and got all different artists to paint it. And I got involved, and this is the one I did. Just used some masking tape and some gold.
Nice. Did you still have your hoodie on and kind of looking over your shoulder when you did it?
That must
have been fun.
The pigeons, hanging out, and they had chickens roaming around. This is just really odd. So this is the same design, but I just adapted it as a t-shirt and printed it myself. I learned how to expose screens and bought a little setup so I could just print stuff myself, which was sort of cool because I could just do sort of limited runs of things.
You always had to have the best equipment.
I was just learning more skills.
This is sick right here. Wow.
Last year in December, there's a private commission for a couple in Melbourne or in Victoria. Basically, he just wanted his shed, murdified.
Yeah. I mean, that's such an honor that, they could ask you literally to just make any art, but they wanted your name. Put your whole name right on.
Yeah, I just I get sometimes I get confused about what I should be designing, and I thought, well, why can't I do my name? I just did it. The actual building, there's this massive fence that goes to the left of this, and it's quite big. So what I did, I repeated my name twice, but you can't see it because the fence is being sort of cut in half. But I should have had another photo, so it makes more sense. But I think people, these workmen were actually building. It's right on a roundabout, and they were building the roundabout, putting poles and signs in, and they're just like, "Oh, I think we liked it better when it was black." But some guys are like, "Oh, yeah, it's amazing." It's like this is in a country town. It's on a roundabout, and when you drive past it, it's just like in your face. It's quite fun.
That's the beauty of it. You can't miss it.
Yeah. All right, so I got through that quite. I thought it was going to take a lot longer, but I got through all that quite quickly.
No, that was great. That was a really good deep dive into your art and you as a person, right? There's you can kind of see your history right there as well, right? That was great.
It's always hard to sort of show people how much experience you've got. I thought that the only way I could possibly do it would be to do a book where you're just showing absolutely almost every piece of artwork you've created.
Right. Now that we're at the crypto art section, I want to remind everyone that the auction is it's underway, and there's an hour and 25 minutes left. Heather posted the link there in the Stream Text channel, so check it out. Just you can see this man's pedigree laid out right here. So yeah, stay tuned to everything coming from that address. Yeah, you want your notifications on.
I'll just for this part, I'm just going to explain where my genesis actually comes from and the ideas behind it. So this in 1999, I had a website which I had all my folio. I had different bits of work, and that's all the icons down below. The murder is digital, spray can, t-shirts, magazines, and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I actually created some icons, which was a free download from my website, and they were basically folder icons for Mac OS 9.
Get out! So these are like This was like before people were dropping sticker packs on the iOS or the Apple, right?
Yeah.
uh, nice. This is cool.
So there were places like uh, what was it called? Icon Factory. So there's like a website that just have different icons on there. So the thing that people were getting into is customizing your folders.
Mm-hmm.
The standard Mac ones. So I thought, well, why not have a train yard as folders? So that's where the idea came from. And and I had the pencil and the spray can were just like the icons for this series of trains, and the pencil was the copyright, which was quite funny, and the spray can being the main folder for all these icons.
I love how as soon as some new technology is introduced, there wasn't much to do if you weren't like a graphic artist or a musician or something with these machines. So the simplest thing you can do as a user to make it your own was like, all right, I'm going to change the folder icon.
Yeah, that was it was cool, like to have your different icons. And so I had people like hitting me up going, yeah, I still use those icons, I've still got them.
Wow.
I should actually put them somewhere so people can actually use them.
Even it's funny, like even on like calculators or something, people like fill them up with stickers just so they're different from somebody else's machine. So it's just interesting how technology always finds art in some way.
Yeah. So I just thought that, well, the icons were probably the perfect thing to start off with as being a designer, was the whole pixel. Because I thought, thinking about NFTs and the digital aspect, and then I thought, well, digital, where's it come from? Pixels, and I thought games, and I just thought the evolution of how it developed to where we are now. So that's why I just thought the icons are perfect, because it's 32-bit, slow res. It's almost like a starting point for me. And then the pencil, well, that's the starting point. That's where you get an idea as an artist, and then the transition to the reality is generally, it's transferred by the pencil. And I thought, well, that has to be the first image for me. That has to be my Genesis.
Beautiful. So these are your Genesis pieces, newly minted on Pixel Chain.
Through and then on OpenSea. And I sort of thought about it. I thought, well, it's funny, I didn't really think about how the pencil is the icon, was the tool that you use to make pixel art. If you look to the left.
True. Yes, it is.
Icons, it was the same thing. I use this program called ResEdit on Mac, and it's the same icon. It's the pencil to make, icon. So it's like, well, that's sort of cool. And then the spray can, my history. So I will be releasing the trains also, but I thought these were the best two to release first, because it's almost like it's my heritage. It's where the starting point.
It's awesome that you've done it on Pixel Chain. If a lot of people aren't too familiar with it here in the community, the way that it saves this image, it actually looks like an image on the blockchain. So this might be your longest lasting piece, minted like on the Ethereum blockchain. It's not a train anymore. We're minting straight on the blockchain.
That's one of the reasons why, because a friend told me that, this stuff is embedded on the blockchain. The image is actually, it's not on a server. It's not separate to the contract. It's actually part of it. So, it's gonna be there forever, as long
I love looking at the images in their hex form. So I'm gonna try to pull that up now and see what we see in that hex file. But it definitely two really good pieces that kind of define you.
Thank you.
And to kind of melt it in with the blockchain stuff that are going to be here forever. That is sick.
Yeah, I like that concept. I think that's what. Yeah, I just love the pixel chain, sort of embedding that there forever. It's just the best way to start, I think.
Definitely.
This is like my spreadsheet. I basically have a lot of different spreadsheets, and I jot a lot of ideas down. So this is like, I thought, well, why not show people how my brain works and how I, plan what I'm doing as an artist. So I've sort of I had to work out, well, how am I going to title my work? And I wanted it sort of similar to how, name a graphic spot, like an illustration on the computer. So where it's like, I always use underscores instead of spaces. And, I thought, well, I could do my name because, well, if I just name it Pencil and someone doesn't know me but sees the NFT, you're going to see, like, they'll see my name and the year I created it, the minting number, where it was like the platform and then the title. So I've got a concept that this is what I will be trying to achieve, but I thought I was going to just separate different styles that I've done in my past, my artist career, into decades and have different decades on different platforms. So with, I might have, I haven't worked out which platform, but I was thinking about doing some graffiti stuff, 87 onwards to 97, and then have my OpenSea wearable stuff, 97 onwards and so on. Foundation will be from 2017, and then new work will be from that.
Dope. I love this, especially for the many new creators that are in our community. This kind of planning out. Well, first of all, there's too many things to kind of keep track of when you're trying to mint a token first. But having this might give some people an idea of how they should be planning and thinking of these things, especially the title, because once you mint it, you can't go back.
Exactly. I was a bit nervous minting because I'm like, did I spell pencil correctly?
So yeah, having it thought out this way kind of eliminates some stress, and it's a perfect naming strategy actually.
So my next, I'm not sure, but I've got the next drop will be an old render. So that's one of my first animations from 97. I used to program Infinity D. So I've broken down that particular animation into 5 different sort of like, there'll be 5 different animations, but they're all going to look different. So I'm going to have a wireframe because that's basically the starting point of a 3D object. I'm going to have the render, which is basically the actual, what it looks like when it's rendering. Chrome is basically the animation with its textures. Alpha is just going to be black and white. So basically it's the shape. And then find image is when the image that you're mapping on the object is lost. And then it just, this program used to just have a default logo. The company that made the software, it would just default it with the logo. So I thought that was sort of cool because it was sort of like when you lose your reference image for the file and it just does default.
Have you played with animation much?
Not a lot recently. Like I play around with CAD. I build objects in CAD because I 3D print stuff. But I haven't, I'm looking at whether to go on Blender or Cinema 4D. I'm definitely going to have a look at doing some animations. It's gone so far. It's amazing. Like just seeing the textures. Like I just love how you can do hair and more organic things. I saw some guy like doing this little lolly and putting sugar on it and then randomizing the shapes on it. I'm just like, it's nuts what you can do now.
There's definitely way more tools available. I mean, just you showed me a little bit of your studio and you have a 3D printer and all this stuff, so I know you're just playing all day, man.
Yeah. Yeah, trying to survive as an artist and play at the same time. So this is the old render. So it's basically the letter R, which it was a t-shirt design, and then I converted it into an object. It was when I got my first computer, and I thought I'll give it a go with doing some animations. So that's the
oh wow.
So this is like 1997.
That's nuts.
It wrote like I haven't got the animation loaded in this presentation, but it's basically a photo of spray cans which are put on a globe and then had the chrome R rotating, and then it was just reflecting the spray cans.
I mean, did you have to keep an air conditioner next to your PC when you were rendering this stuff,
Uh,
or?
that's the when I was rendering, when I got the first computer, it's just taking so long. So it was you know, it was nice to revisit this this stuff, and then I've re-rendered it using my G5. So probably mid-March, I was re-rendering stuff, and it was just taking days and days. But I got you know, good resolution animations.
Beautiful.
That's it. That's the last.
Cool, man. There's trajectory is amazing. I said it at the beginning, but it's definitely the crypto space. Definitely gains an asset by having you involved and bringing your creations and creativity into the space. Um, you know, you kind of pushed all those boundaries when on new things back in the '80s, and you're still doing it now. You're in the NFT space. It probably gives you some sort of the similar vibes to graffiti and illegal work, because crypto, it's still got that little bit of rebel feel to it, where yeah, there's still a lot of gray areas. So how's that been? How's it been? Do you see any similarities from the two?
It definitely, it's got the feeling. It's got that same sort of just aesthetic, like just being, I don't know, been excited about making work for something. Like it's got a massive buzz. It's hard to explain.
I was listening to, or was on one in a clubhouse room, and one music artist, he said that it felt like he had got his freedom back, right?
Yeah.
Uh, it's something that if you were still part of an agency or doing any kind of commercial work, if you had lost that spark, kind of NFT art or crypto art has brought it back, and it's new horizons, right?
Yeah, totally. Because
Cool.
it just gives so much freedom to artists to be able to earn an income and create work.
Okay. Oh, apart from the what you've got working on now, or maybe this question is maybe more of what do you want to see? What do you want to see more of in crypto art, right? Or what are you excited to make after these initial drops? There's a lot of new stuff out there.
Oh, it's amazing. It's good to see some established artists too, like coming in, like people that are sort of really admired as the designer, like seeing their work over decades, sort of coming into the space and doing stuff. Like it's exciting.
Yes. I think people with a huge audience and that people have been following for years. When they enter the space and people and their communities and their fans kind of join us, it's a benefit. It's a benefit for everyone.
Probably one thing I'm looking into is music, and just probably maybe doing some collaborations with a few people with animations.
I would love to see that. With graffiti being so hand in hand with hip hop, and now every kind of music can use that imagery. I would love to see your work with up there with some cool beats and stuff.
It just adds so much more, and music's such a large part of art. Or like when you create art, like you listen to music, it's inspiring.
We do have a few questions from the community that we have some time, so let's ask probably one of the most asked, if people are not familiar with you. Where did you get your name from? What does it mean?
Is that who asked that?
Oh no, I mean I've heard it asked a few times, but it was somebody in the community.
Well, it means shit in Italian and a few other languages. I've been told numerous times on my Instagram. by random people. I've known for like since I've had it. I've got great friends who used to go, yeah. I had other names. Basically, I got in trouble. I got busted. So I had to change. Basically, I used to write J, and I changed that to 10125. So it was a code for J, 10, 1, 5. Then I went on to murder, and I thought, I like the word, but having double letters in the word in graffiti is difficult. Like when you're trying to do a style, to have 2 R's.
Mm-hmm.
So I reformatted the letters to make it sound like murder. And then I'm like finding out, well, it means shit. I'm like, well, I can wear I just like the structure of the lettering because it's, having the vowels in there and just the structure of how it all flows is important.
Yeah. I'm sure that's dope. You're just like, I'm rocking with it. I don't care. Dope. Someone says that Big M is the best flavored milk of the '90s. Do you concur?
Yeah. Egg flip, which is egg flip is like a flavor.
Let me see. Someone's asking if you had some time to look around some of these metaverse kind of art galleries, maybe Crypto Voxels or Decentraland.
Yeah, I have. I've been into Decentraland and had a look around and just thought, wow, I can get some sculptures in here maybe.
You just read my mind. I would love like one of the ones that you had up in the store in Decentraland would look so rad. And also, along with some music, you can have some really cool stuff going on in there.
Oh, look, maybe I can do a building. Would be good.
Yes, the whole building. Look at you. Now we're just moving on to straight architecture. Nice. That'd be so cool. Let me see. If you want to talk a little bit about the auction, we have an hour and 5 minutes left on the pencil on both, right?
I think the other one's the next day, same time it ends.
Yes. So we have a day left on that, an hour left on the pencil.
So just the way it worked, the timing.
Yep. Yeah, we would love to kind of have you back in the chat. I'd love to kind of get you on one of our hold to play roles as a dolphin. So you can kind of, see what the community's really about. I don't know if you use Discord too much, but
I'm learning.
Yeah. You can take it easy, but kind of with that role, it kind of gives you a deeper dive, and you can connect more with the people here in this community. Because for real, it's definitely an asset. Any space that you can touch, so much wealth of information there.
Thank you.
I don't know. Do you have something that you want to close off with, that you want to remind us about, or somewhere?
It was just good to have the opportunity to show the community, my past and present and future.
Speaking of which, one question that I missed from Classy J was what creators inspire you, and or other works?
That's a good question. A lot of different people. E-Boy, I recently saw like pixel art. Is I've always been inspired by those guys. I can't. This is like one of those questions where you're on the spot and not working.
It's all good.
It's probably like friends. I've got friends that are painters, and they inspire me. Like people I know.
That's right. There you go. Big up your friends.
Yeah. Because it's important. Like I've got a lot of people that follow me on my Instagram, but I suppose it's I follow them and we communicate, and I just respect what they do.
There you go, Classy J. Hope that answers your question. All right. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to another episode of Whale FM, Artist Fireside Chat. We have just had an amazing session with Merda, learned all about their trajectory, what they're doing in the space now, where they see it going. So we posted their social links, the link to the auction, which is ending in an hour and 3 minutes. Check it out on It's minted on Pixel Chain, so you know it's going to be here forever. Just like Jay's or Murda's art is going to be here forever. This kind of cements it into the NFT world. So from myself and the whole community, welcome.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Definitely, yeah. Stop by the community anytime. We'd love to show you around and kind of hook you up with any kind of info that you need.
Cheers.
Awesome. All right, y'all. Thank you for tuning in.
See ya.
Peace.